Did it actually go? All right, so here's the deal. For this unit, you guys, you already know this information. I know you know this information. We just need to like tweak it to make it fit AP. All right. So to start, what are the two most populous countries in the world? China and
U.S.
India. China and India. Oh my gosh, the U.S. is like. We only have 300 million people. Like we're like way. China and India are in the billions. So you got China, you got India. Okay, within the past week or two, world population has hit what? 8 billion. You guys, we're at 8 billion people. And someone in my 4th hour asked yesterday what the world's carrying capacity is. World's carrying capacity is 2 billion people. We're at 8. Okay, so think 8 billion mouths to feed, 8 billion jobs, resources, you guys, you name it, all right? So if we kind of take that information, where are most babies in the world born? LDCs or MDCs? LDCs, okay? Why? What'd you say? Okay, so there's not as many rights for women, right? So you start having babies earlier. The earlier you start having babies, the more babies you have.
LDCs are also in the primary and secondary.
Got it. Primary sector, farming, agriculture, you need laborers. All right, so you guys, you have the foundation for this. We just need to spin it a little bit and make it fit the information that we're looking at. So for this section, we're going to look at population pyramids. I am going to teach you how to read a population pyramid. If at any point it is not hitting with you, like it is just not making sense, please tell me. A kid in my 3rd hour, I went through 3 population pyramids, and a kid in my 3rd hour was like, I got nothing. Like nothing is, and I'm like, all right, let's restart. And once we restarted, then he was like, oh, okay. So if something is not clicking, let me know. All right, but I am going to teach you how to read a population pyramid so that when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, that's a country that's having a lot of kids. That country, if they're having a lot of kids, obviously an LDC. So we are going to start with the basics. So for every single one of these sections, you guys should see a population pyramid, and then we're going to add some notes to it, and then you guys are going to use those markers to kind of outline the pyramid, maybe kind of add some stuff to the pyramid so that it makes a little bit more sense. All right, so very first thing, here is a population pyramid. Okay, I just pulled a random one. No rhyme or reason, I just picked Brazil. Okay, so when you guys look at this, every population pyramid, ages are going to be on the left-hand side. Okay, so they're always organized the same. You've got age groups on the left, 0 to 4, 5 to 9. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I made
10 to
extras.
14. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So ages on the left. You guys, percentages on the bottom. The percentages on the bottom show you how much each age group makes up percentage-wise that country's population. All right, so males are on the left, females are on the right. If you guys look at this, either at your sheet or up on the screen, males between the ages of 0 and 4 in Brazil in 2019 made up 3.5% of the population. Okay? Females between 0 and 4 made up 3.4% of the population. Males between the ages of 25 and 29 made up 4%. So you guys, that's all those percentages are. Obviously, the bigger the percentage, the more of that age group there is. That's all that means. Okay? So what I want you guys to do to the left of this pyramid, I want you guys to jot down these notes. Space these two out, and then kind of have those two right there. And then when you are done with the notes, grab your marker so that I know that you are done with the notes. And we're going to add a little something to the pyramid. Just space, yeah, the cohort and the 0 to 4. We're going to kind of do a little something. So, first thing, grab your markers once you were done writing. Grab your marker. We're going to add some stuff to the pyramid. We're going to kind of match it up so that it makes sense. Okay, so this is just the basics. Every population pyramid that you look at should look something like this. All right, it may be like black and white or black and gray instead of blue and red, but the idea is the same. Males are always on the left, females are always on the right. Okay, so a cohort, you guys, a cohort is an age group. All right, so when you see the word cohort, it's an age group. Okay, sometimes they're single years. The freshman class is a cohort. The sophomore class is a cohort. Junior class is a cohort. Senior class is a cohort. Population pyramids, you guys, they're in 5-year chunks. Think about it. If we did a population pyramid, if every bar was a singular age group, you'd have 100 bars in some population pyramids because you have some countries where you do have some elderly people. So you guys think about it. If each age group was represented by just one thing, think how massive this pyramid would be and how hard it would be to read. Okay, so you do little age chunks. So what I want you guys to do, pick any one of the age groups towards the top. So like 85 to 89, 80 to 84. So you guys 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Pick any one. I'm going to do 75 to 79. And basically all I want you guys to do is just kind of draw a rectangle around it and then just from 5-year cohorts to that bar, just so you're like, okay, this is what a cohort is. This is what she's talking about. Kind of gives you that little visual for it. Okay. 0 to 4. Age groups 0 to 4 always is going to be your base. So you guys, it always goes young to old. Okay? So 0 to 4 is always the base. We are going to do the same thing around 0 to 4. Just draw yourself that little rectangle and just give yourself a little indicator that that's what that is. Okay, and then the shape. Shape of a population pyramid is always determined by crude birth rate. If you guys know what CBR is when you look at it, you do not need to write crude birth rate again. But if you're looking at CBR kind of like, I don't know exactly what that means, mark that. But you guys get very used to, in this unit, seeing CBR for crude birth rate, CDR for death rate, NIR for natural increase. Like, it's just so much easier than writing crude birth rate again and again and again. Okay, so these are our basics. Does this make sense so far? You guys, you kind of see how to read this. Like, there's not a ton of youth in this population. There's not a ton of people in their middle age. There's definitely not a lot of elderly people. Like, you guys, you can visually look at this and be like, okay, this is how Brazil's population was basically organized in 2019. The biggest part of their population is 30 to 34-year-olds. That's 8.2% of the population. That's the biggest chunk. Okay. All right. Your next population pyramid. What I want you guys to do. You have a little bit of room under this pyramid to write this information. Or if you want to write it next to the pyramid right here, you can write it. But you guys, when you see a pyramid that looks like this, it's considered a rapid expansive. Like, that's the title of it. And it has a very wide base. So you guys don't need to rewrite population pyramid if you don't want to. But literally, you guys, next to the pyramid, not to the right of it, but next to the pyramid, put rapid expansive and wide base. That's what we're going to start with. You can write it underneath. It's just the next page doesn't really have room to write under it. So if you want to write it next to it, you can do that too. But yeah, when I copied it, I don't know, for some reason I didn't leave a ton of space. Okay. I'm gonna put up the notes for this pyramid. I want you guys to give everybody a chance to write them, and then we're gonna talk about them. I don't want to talk about them as you're writing them because you may not really be fully focused. So you guys are gonna write the notes that I put up. You're gonna write in the box next to it. Yep. I do not want to leave you to your own devices on this one. I need you guys to understand how to read these. All right, when you were done, you're gonna grab your marker. When you're done, grab your marker. All right. So for this pyramid, you guys, anytime you see rapid expansive, all right, or anytime you see like a pyramid that kind of looks like this, I want you guys, so take your marker. You guys should kind of envision an actual pyramid, right? Like it looks like a triangle. It looks like an actual pyramid. All right, so kind of that ghost shape. Obviously, you guys, like, it's not perfect. Like, these are obviously skinnier, but you can still see that pyramid triangle shape. All right, so that's the first thing. Like, okay, I see this shape. That's your first instinct. When you guys see population pyramids, I need you to visualize what shape it actually is. All right, now, next part of this. Can you guys see the high birth rate in this pyramid? Can you see that this country is having a lot of babies?
Yes.
Okay, how? All right, Ben.
0 to 4 is like huge.
Okay, 0 to 4 is huge. So you guys, you can visually see that this country is having a ridiculous amount of babies because they make up the largest percentage of this country's population. It's kind of cut off, but it's 10 point something percent for females and it's 10 point something percent for males. So 20-something% of this country's population is 0 to 4. 16.5% is 5 to 9. All right, and 10 to 14 is about 13. You guys, the majority of their population is young. All right, can you guys see that there's a low life expectancy? You can tell that not many people are living long in this country just for the simple fact that 0.1 and then straight just 0.0s at the top of this. All right, so you can actually physically see there's a low life expectancy. You can tell, you guys, you can physically read that the younger generation is larger than the older. Now, these things right here, these 4, you guys have to infer. You have to kind of make an assumption. All right, so you can see this, you can see this, you can see this. These 4 things you just kind of have to infer about this country. All right, so before we talk about how you can infer these, whether we know what Niger is or not, or where Niger is, if you have a country that has a high birth rate, if you have a country that people are not expected to live very long, are you an LDC or an MDC? LDC. So I want you guys to put LDC somewhere where you can fit it in. I need you to add that this type, you guys, when you see this triangle, instantaneously, LDC. Some of you may have seen Niger and been like, okay, that's sub-Saharan Africa. Obviously, that's an LDC. If you look at that country and you're like, I got nothing. Look at the shape. All right. Now, let's add one more thing. What's the other level of development? So it's an LDC, but we need to get a little bit more specific. So core, semi, or periphery? Periphery. All right. So you guys add periphery to that too. Okay. Here's where our inferences come in then. You guys know that if a country's periphery and it's an LDC, they're going to have rapid population growth. You guys, the amount of babies they have alone means that their population is exploding. And you guys literally said it. Most births in the world today are occurring in LDCs. Okay, so rapid population growth. If you have a lot of young people, you have workers. You guys literally said it when we started. Countries that have a lot of babies do manual labor jobs. They do agricultural jobs. So clearly they're going to have an expanding workforce. All right. High youth dependency ratio. You guys, the more young people you have, the more money you have to put into those people. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to house them. You have to school them. This puts an economic strain on this country. All right. That's something that you have to assume. And then low literacy rate for women. How do we know that women have low literacy rates in this country? We're looking at population pyramids. How do you know that women can't read and write? How do we make that assumption? Emma?
Because of also population growth too, and certain LDCs don't allow women to learn certain things.
Okay, so kind of continue with that, Ellie. Expand that a little bit.
They're spending all their time raising the kids.
Got it. So you guys, if women can't read and can't write, they stay home, and your job is to have babies. Okay? So you guys, if you see a country, whatever country, you see a population pyramid that looks like this, automatically assume that there's gender inequality. Automatically assume that women do not have equal rights. They do not work. They do not go to school. And you guys, if you do not work and you do not go to school, you probably have a more traditional role, which is staying home and having kids. Okay? And you have kids for work, and you have kids just in case some of them don't make it into adulthood. All right? So you guys, these things you can actually see. Some things with population pyramids, you have to just inference about it. All right? We're going to do one more before we jump to lunch. This one is substantially smaller than this one. All right, shape number 2. You guys, all right, ignore this one at first. Do not put this. So this is one that you may not be able to fit in under the pyramid. So you guys, this is an expansive pyramid. So if you want to write it next to it, and then I need you to put that it has a narrowing base. So I need you to Like there's a transition. You guys, countries always start out with that triangle shape and then transition into this one as they develop. That's where that narrowing base idea comes in. And then there's the section of notes. Go ahead and just get those. And the bell's probably gonna ring here in a second for lunch, but try to get as much of that as you can for this one. All right, you guys, go ahead and grab your phones and stuff like that. We'll finish this up when we come back. Make sure you have this at least written before you take a pause. All right. Okay, so for this one, so take your marker. I want you guys to draw something that looks a little like that. Okay? Now, here's why I erased this. I see a rocket. Some people see it like a house shape. Some people see bottles. Some people see a skyscraper. You guys assign it a shape. Like assign it so that when you see this shape, you're kind of like, okay, this is this type of a country. So you guys always have that little just added connection to it. So again, I see a rocket. It is completely up to you how you see it, but declining birth rate. So you guys, your last population pyramid, 10% of the population, females, 0 to 4. You had 10% of the population. Boys, 0 to 4, 10% of the population. Here, it's 4.4 and 4.2. So the birth rate is starting to decline. So you guys, I need you to think of this as a transition from the actual pyramid shape to you're starting to develop a little bit more. You start to see the birth rate decline, right? You start to see life expectancy go up a little bit. You guys, instead of just straight zeros, you're now seeing 0.4, 0.1, 0.3, and then it starts to get into the zeros. So you guys, this is a country that's in the process of developing. So, LDC or MDC? If you're in the process of developing.
Semi-periphery.
Semi-periphery. So is that LDC or MDC?
LDC.
LDC. All right. So add LDC and semi-periphery. Okay. And then I'm gonna have you add one more thing. So we've got LDCs, we've got semi-periphery, and you guys, this is like a transitional one, but these are your countries that are just now going through the Industrial Revolution. So you guys, your shoes, your clothes, your phones, these are gonna be the countries that are making those goods. So you should look for countries that are in Asia to have this pyramid shape. So again, you guys, if all else fails, you can look at the name of the country, or you can look at the shape of the pyramid. So Asia, and then Latin America. Okay, those are your kind of like general areas for these population pyramids. All right, but again, you guys, being able to see it, like, okay, people are having less babies. That's because people have jobs. People are moving to where the jobs are, which is usually in cities. So you don't need as many kids to work on the farms. You have better jobs, more money, so you can put that to healthcare, doctors, so people are living a little bit longer. So you guys, you can kind of see the transition. All right, next one. Okay, ignore this bottom one for now. So ignore this bottom one for now. I want you guys to put stationary and that it has somewhat of a column shape. And again, ignore this bottom section for right now. We'll do that. We'll talk about that one in a second. All right, notes for this one. This is the last one that's a little bit lengthier. And you guys, this says CDR.
Oh.
Not, birth rate isn't on there twice. That's death rate.
Attention Lake Central, part of the interruption. If all area career center students who sold donuts would come to the main office and bring their order form along with them to pick up their donuts. All career center kids who sold donuts, please come to the office with your order form to pick them up. Thank you.
All right, when you are done, grab that marker again. When you are done, grab that marker again. All right, so for this one, you guys, it's not going to be perfect, so sorry, but we're going to ignore the elderly for right now. So, yeah, my apologies, elderly people. But here's how I want you guys to do this. So we're gonna do the majority. I mean, we're still hitting like 70, 74-year-olds. We're hitting some of the 75-year-olds. So we're gonna do the majority, but basically you guys draw a rectangle, a column, around the majority of that population. All right, basically you guys, if you are stationary, what does that mean? You're staying still. You're not changing. You're not moving. Okay? This is a country where you're literally just replacing the previous generation. So the idea is, you guys, if you have two parents and they have two kids, when those two parents die, the two kids replace them in the population. All right? If you have two parents and you have two parents, these people have no kids, these people have 4 kids, they still balance each other out. That's what's happening in this country. Okay? So countries that look like this, you guys, it's basically like a moving walkway. If you've ever seen like the moving sidewalks, they literally just continue to roll around and they continue to just wrap around. That's all that this is. So 0 to 4-year-olds, when they hit the 5 to 9 age bracket, they just replace that. And you guys, it just continuously moves all the way through. So you guys, when we look at this, we can tell there's a low birth rate, right? 3.1%, 2.9%. You can tell that they're not having a lot of babies. Low death rate. You can tell people are living longer, right? Higher life expectancy. So you guys, you can see high life expectancy. You can see a low death rate. You can see a low birth rate. Okay. How does a low birth rate, how can we infer that the workforce is educated if there's a low birth rate? How do we know that people have an education if you're not having a ton of kids? Emma.
Less women are giving birth. 0 to 4 age is not as big as.
Okay, so if less women are giving birth, what are they doing instead? Anyway. Getting an education and then doing what? After you get an education. Got it. Beautiful. So you guys, women are going to school. They're getting jobs. Then maybe they're thinking about having kids. All right. So that's where that educated workforce comes in. That's where you guys, if there's less kids, we're not having to pay for their school. We're not having to pay for their clothing. We're not having to pay for all of that stuff. But on the negative side now, if we have a ton of elderly people, we have to pay for that. So you guys, high elderly dependency ratio. We're now paying for assisted living because there's a ton of elderly. We are now paying for retirement. We're paying for we're paying for all of those things. You guys, when you start getting paychecks, you're going to put money into retirement. You're going to put money into all of that. That's kind of what this is. You're helping to take care of that. All right. So more developed, gender equality, education, all of that. What type of country is this? An MDC. And then what do we follow that up with? Core. Beautiful. All right, I am not going to give you parts of the world because this can change. And I'll explain this in a second. So you guys, you're going to have to know the shape of this one. You cannot just bank on the country. All right? Like the United States is like teetering between this and the new one that I'm going to show you guys. All right? So we're not going to give you a part of the world for this one. All right. So this last pyramid did not exist when I first started teaching. It was like a theoretical, like this could be like a possible, and now it's actually a thing. So this is our last one. It's called constrictive, and I'll explain it to where it kind of makes a little bit more sense. So you guys, this one has the smallest space. It has the narrowest base. All right, this is within the past couple years. This is a very, very new pyramid. All right, and then there's your info. trying to think. My first year teaching this class was in 2009, 2010, and this was like a hypothetical, like this could possibly happen, and now it's like no, this is like actually a thing now. It was not born yet. Okay.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I graduated high school in the 2000s. Mm-hmm.
You mess up.
Oh, 02? 02? All right. Markers, when you are done. You guys, and again, just recognizing the shape, like triangle, right? Pyramid shape, to house and or rocket, to straight up rectangle column. And then for this one, again, we're gonna ignore the elderly. So finish writing this, and then what did you say? No, that would be horrible. All right. So we're gonna start where we kind of see the biggest jut out at the top, because you guys, elderly, that always fluctuates. Like it always just kind of is a little bit different. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're gonna start here. I want you guys to draw an upside down triangle, right? Again, elderly, you guys, that always varies. Like could be something like there could be an illness, there could be something that happens that changes that elderly. So we kind of just look at like the top peak. But you guys, think constrictive. Think a boa constrictor. When it circles its prey, it like tightens and tightens and tightens and tightens. Look at the bottom of this, right? Think of a snake kind of wrapping itself around this, like squeezing its prey. That's what it's doing. So you guys, these are countries that are so developed. So you guys, these are NDCs. These are countries that are so developed, so educated, so employed that they are choosing not to have children. So they have low birth rates, and their death rates are actually outpacing their births. These are countries that are experiencing negative growth. All right? These are countries where kids are seen as like an economic, like, I really want to have kids. It's like an economic liability. And they're like, nah, we're just going to travel, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. So people are not having kids. So if you're not having kids, then the next couple generations have less women to then continue that cycle. So low birth rate and increasing death rate. So you guys, there's actual negative growth. So Japan is an example of this. You guys, Japan, for really the first time in its history, in a very long time, is actually like encouraging immigration so that they have people to come in and actually like work. Okay, Japan's always been kind of like, no, we don't, no, we're good. We don't need outsiders, like we're solid. Japan's actually now like, please come to us. All right, Denmark is one. We're going to talk about this when we come back from break. But you guys, Denmark is actually paying couples to have babies. Okay? We're going to talk about, Denmark is putting in a pronatalist policy. You guys, Denmark is sending couples on vacation to try to encourage them to have kids. And then when they come back, if they have kids, they give them free diapers. They give them maternal and paternal, like, leave. They are giving them like tax breaks. You guys, Singapore is doing this. Like there are countries, you guys, the US is almost here. The US is almost to this point. Okay. What was the other? Oh, and Russia. Russia's right here too. Russia has since communism with Democrats, like the new democratic form coming in, there's parts of Russia where it's like villages of elderly people. They're not really, yes, exactly. They're not exactly having kids. So their population is dropping a lot. So here, I'm gonna show you guys something. Alright, so do not say China, but I'm gonna show you guys something. So I know I'm super nerdy and I love this website. So it's called populationpyramid.net. Alright, so super nerdy. I am fully well aware. Do not give me China because China's a weird one with its like one child policy and then the two child policy. So China's very funky. But give me a country in sub-Saharan Africa. Any country. Chad. All right. So you guys look at this pyramid. Here's the world. This is the world in 2019. This is every country in the entire world. All right. Here's 0 to 4-year-olds, boys. They make up 4.5% of the world's population in 2019. Girls, 4.3%. So if we go to Chad, all right, just watch. Right? Give me another country in sub-Saharan Africa. Mozambique. All right. Mozambique should look also like what?
Pyramid.
It should look like a pyramid, right? So watch. Look at females make up 8.3%. Males make up 8.4%. All right, let's go to the next one. Give me a country that would be considered semi-peripheral. That would fall in the whole Asia, Latin America. Do not say China.
India.
Brazil.
India's a little funky. We'll do Brazil. All right, Brazil should kind of look like what?
Is it just like a column?
House.
No, there you go. The house, column, like the rocket ship looking thing. So you guys, we're going to transition. So this is an LDC. This is a periphery. You guys are going to see the transition where the younger generation is going to get smaller. The older generation is going to widen a little bit, and it's going to round out towards the top. So, Brazil.
Woohoo!
Right? Give me another one. Latin America or Asia?
India.
India's
I want to see what India looks like.
a little funky, so we'll do India in a second. Give me another one.
Chile.
There's Chile. I'll show you the US. There's Vietnam.
Oh.
All right. Okay, now give me one that you feel like would fall in that column-shaped one. More developed, core country.
Australia.
All right, Australia is a perfect one. You guys, look at that transition. It's literally, let's look at the US. I heard it over here somewhere. There's the United States.
Right, it's
All right.
Oh.
Can I see what India looks like?
All right, and then I have a super funky one to show you guys. All right, so India's does actually fit it pretty well. I'm impressed. I was not sure. For some reason, I was thinking India was going to look a little funky. All right, Iceland. What do we think?
Weird.
Pound shape.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you guys ready? Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say, what was so weird about China?
All right, so China's is super funky. So you can see where like the one child policy and two child policies, like you can see where they hit. Like you can see the generations where it was like relaxed, and then you can see the generations where they like tightened it back up. So like you guys, you can see markers in countries. Like think this is in 2019. All right, so if you go back 50 years, what was going on in that country, you can kind of see like, okay, this generation was told do not have kids, limit yourself, and you can see where it shrunk back down. And then you can see where they kind of relaxed it again a little bit. And then kind of like, so you can see like the accordion shape. Now,
Qatar.
yeah, what's going on in Qatar right now?
World Cup.
All right, so if we look at this population pyramid, what should it look like?
Rocket.
Anybody know what the issues going on in Qatar were prior to the World Cup? Close.
No, it was child labor.
Well, there was child labor, but mainly what, like, gender.
Women's labor.
Oh.
Whoa. Okay. So you guys, child labor, guest workers, male labor. So all of this is people coming into Qatar to work. Look at 25 to 29, 30 to 34-year-olds. So you can see, like, this isn't natural. This isn't part of their, like, birth and death rates. This is just legitimately, like, here's all of these males that are coming into Qatar that are working there. So you can see that part of it. So you guys, you can kind of see, like, how it transitions. All right. So here's the deal. We got 6 minutes. Clearly not going to make you do anything, but you do have homework. And you will have a quiz when we return on Tuesday. So that is your homework assignment. Take a second, write it down, and then just go ahead and relax. That is the homework. It's up on the board. You know the age of the child labor? So you're just gonna throw out a statistic. You're not gonna actually give me anything else. I know, but I thought they were in there like 20s and stuff.
Nah, it's like 15-year-olds.
Is it?
I have no.
Oh. Oh, no, then you're patient.
I can do it.